Welcome to the FloTrack's Cross Country Ranking Show presented by Hoka, NCAA Championship Preview Edition here on the course in Madison. I'm Ryan Fenton alongside Ashley Tishins. We also have two special guests, Hoka athletes and former NCAA athletes, Olin Hacker, Abby Nichols. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. How are you guys doing?
Good. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Love to be in Madison.
Ashley, how about you? We've been in the studio
I know.
talking about rankings all year. Now we're out on the course. You got the gloves. I'm trying to brave it.
I was gonna say, I'll admit I'm a little chilly right now. It's, we're in Austin, so not used to this cold, but I know it's gonna be true cross-country racing tomorrow. It's perfect weather for it, and I'm excited for everything that's gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah, we're here. We're finally here. We're gonna talk previews about all the action that we will see tomorrow, but first, our guests. So Olin Hacker, Wisconsin alum, Abby, Colorado alum, had even a stint at Ohio State. We're talking off camera. 7 years in the NCAA, and we got 6 here, so 13 years of experience combined here. I think 8 national championship meets between the two of you that you've run. What's it like to be back at the NCAA championships, and what are the feels that you have right now?
I mean, I feel like you don't run a lot of cross country as a pro, and just being back here at this meet, already, it's not even race day and we have people flying by us, so much energy. I think this is a unique meet. There's nothing else like it, and it's so fun to be here.
Yeah, it's really nostalgic. This course alone, I've had happy moments here, sad moments here, and I know there's going to be heartbreak and happy moments tomorrow, and I'm excited to watch from the sidelines and be inspired.
Olin, I got to ask, this is your home course, home turf. Talk to us a little bit about this course. I don't know if you were here yesterday, but obviously there was a bit of snow and slush. Today it seems a little more dry, at least on the start here. What should people know about this course, and what do you remember about it?
Yeah, I was surprised seeing all the snow yesterday and how much it's dried out, so I'm happy to see that. I think it's going to be fast, but I think this is a really interesting course. I think number one, the starting stretch is so long, which I think in a big field, everyone thinks that's good, right? Because you have plenty of space to get to that first turn. But I think what that really means is everyone can all out sprint for the first 800 meters to the first turn. And I think that really makes these races get out hard. I think on the finger loops, it's really interesting. There's just a lot of turns. I think it's important to pay attention to tangents, but that can be hard in these big fields. There's a lot of people to navigate. And I think the other thing that we often talked about as a team is kind of coming into the last K, you can be really far away from the finish back in that upper corner, and all the fans are coming to the finish to watch. It can get really quiet out there, and you can lose yourself, and you got to know where you are, know how far you have left, and know what you can give.
And Abby, you've raced here a few times yourself, so from the women's perspective, only 6K. Here at this course, what is some advice you have for the ladies lining up tomorrow?
Well, I would just say, I feel like this meet, it's unlike none other because, it's so many bodies next to you. It just feels, claustrophobic a little bit. And so just, to stay calm when it feels like that and, just know that it'll spread out later and just hang in there because it's going to be hard, but you got to get through those tough moments, and you can fight more than you even know that you can, so.
And I have to ask, too, obviously we're in Wisconsin. You can see us wearing all the layers. It's going to be chilly again tomorrow, too. I think the temp is going to be in the 20s with the wind and stuff like that for athletes, too. How are you, if you were competing tomorrow, what are you wearing? How are you trying to, approach that as well?
Yeah, I think I would just, enjoy being cold.
Enjoy being cold?
Yeah, it's cross country and
Are
it's
you going singlet only and just some gloves?
maybe
really?
some arm sleeves.
So we've been working out. It's been getting colder. Abby's been singlet shorts, and I'm in tights and a long sleeve. I think I'm going singlet, gloves, and then arm sleeves, game time decision, depending on how the wind's feeling. But I like to be a little bit warmer. I don't think you don't want to be cold. But when you're in the pack, it's actually surprisingly warm with all those bodies around you.
That's true.
Always been
I feel
surprised
when you're working that hard, it doesn't feel that cold anymore because you get really hot. At least I do.
Yeah, at some point, everything's just burning.
Yeah, it's good not to feel your legs.
We're going to talk about the team competition here in a moment, and so I want to get your perspective, both from teams with great tradition at Wisconsin and Colorado. What's the communication amongst the team and kind of the message that you have together when you get to this meet?
I think it's fight for each other. I think that's what we always said. I think that's what every team has said. Like, I mean, you've been through so much together. Like, you're with these teammates, you've been training together, you often live together. Like, they're just your best friends, and you want to do everything you can for them. Even if you're having a bad individual day, it's like, if you can still pick up points for the team, it still really matters. And I think, like, this is the hardest race. Every time at NCAA Cross, it was the hardest race I ever ran. And I feel like to be doing it for more than yourself is key. And often to be able to pack up, have a teammate that you're running with, have a couple, I think that really helps you not get lost in the madness.
Yeah, I feel like usually on a team, everyone kind of has like a different task depending on like their strengths, and you just have to like stick to what is best for you, but like also do what's best for your team. And every point matters, every body matters here. I mean, we've seen it come down to like 1 point here, so literally like everybody matters. It feels like in the big pack it doesn't matter, but it does.
Well, Ashley, I think we got to talk about some team competitions.
I mean, that's what we're here to talk about, right?
I want to start with women. We've looked at the rankings throughout the season. We've seen how things have all shaken out. I think when we look at the rankings now, sitting at the top is BYU. We've got Oregon up there. NAU, who's, you know, obviously the big story around them. Runner-up last year, Mike Smith, his last season coaching that team. West Virginia, who's just ascended through the rankings throughout the season. Providence, you know, after really that top three, it feels like there's another 4 or 5 that are really podium contention. What are you seeing coming into this weekend?
Yeah, I think the women's team side is really interesting because you have a program like BYU that I think is throughout the season really solidified that, hey, they're the favorite going into this, right? I mean, they've performed so well at pre-nats, they performed so well at Big 12s, they performed so well at regionals, right? And like they've looked pretty unstoppable and together as a group. You know, last year they did not perform as well as they wanted to. They finished outside of the top 10 at NCAAs, and I think Coach Diljit Taylor learned from that experience, and a lot of those athletes are returning this year. So perhaps they have that in mind and they don't want to repeat that again, and they've learned from that, and here they are, and I think they are going to be the favorite. Their 1 through 5 spread is insane. Like, I think it was Big 12s, I think it was a 9-second spread or something like that. So that's definitely going to play in their favor. But as you mentioned too, while they're the favorite, there's still plenty of other teams to watch out for as well. NAU, they were runner-up last year, barely lost to NC State. Mike Smith last year here for cross country, so they're going to be looking to come away with the title as well.
Abby, you've run against a lot of these teams before. Just you looking at the season and where things are at right now, what stands out to you?
Oh yeah, it's cool to see like lots of changes happen. Like, not always the top teams are going to be the top teams the next year. There's always schools that go through ups and downs. So it's like cool to see Providence coming up in the mix, and like West Virginia's doing so well. So I just love seeing that, and it's going to be really cool to see everyone mix it up because anything can happen. So it's hard to even say like who the favorite could be.
You have any excitement around this women's team race that you've been watching throughout the season?
I'm excited about the NAU team. I mean, just being in Flagstaff, we see them around, and I think, you know, they've got great energy. But I think it's an interesting team because their lineup has been a little bit different throughout the season, and so yeah, once they put it all together, I think they could be a scary team.
I want to ask you about Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, we saw them move up a spot in the rankings this last week after the regional championship. What do you feel like their chances are right now when you look at the teams on the board?
I think the Ducks have shown, especially in the back half of the season, that they are definitely a contender to watch for. They added Salon ILD to transfer for them into the mix, and I mean, shoot, in her first race of the season, she didn't open up until Big Tens. She wins the individual title at Big Ten, so she is definitely fit. Maddie Elmore is a great number 2 for them, a good 1-2 punch, but they're also very deep all the way back to number 7. So I think Oregon is really going to be dangerous on the day tomorrow.
Yeah. We talked about a number of these teams outside of these top 3 that have this podium contention. We got to talk to Sean Cleary, West Virginia, earlier last week. And just about how that team started off of the rankings early season and now is up in the number 4 spot. But another team, I think you mentioned Providence, Abby. They had a good stretch between 2012 and 2015 where they were on the podium 3 times. They were national champs in 2013 and have been relatively quiet in terms of the top 10 really since since 2016. So Ray Tracy, the coach of the Providence Friars, we saw earlier today to ask him about his team's chances of getting back onto that podium and what it might take tomorrow.
And then on the team side tomorrow, what do you think it's going to take from the ladies on the day to get one of those podium spots potentially?
I think we got to get 3 and 40, and I think our other 2, probably if they score, probably inside the top 80. I think we could make the podium at that stage. In years past, that's what we have done. Even the year we were 4th, we had 2 and 40, we had another one at 65, and the other 2 were outside 100, and we still finished 4th. So it doesn't take a whole lot, and stuff. So that's what I'm trying to get across to them. You don't have to be wonderful, you just have to run at least equal to your best race of the season here, and if we do that, I think we have a pretty good shot.
So that was Ray Tracy. We kind of asked him about potentially trying to win and all these stuff. And he's like, I don't really know. We'll see what happens out there. But Ashley, in talking to him, what did you take from that? And you got also, again, we talked to Cleary now. So 2 teams really fighting for that podium spot. What are your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, listening to Tracy there, I think so. The last time they podium was back in 2015, but obviously they know what it takes to podium, and I think they could really be in the mix. He mentioned having big pieces like Kimberly May, Shannon Flockhart, Alex Millard. Great addition for them this year. They have a really strong core 3 up there, and they're coming off a big win at Northeast Regional, which they said gave them some big confidence there. And so I think really just hearing from him, they're just trying to put all the pieces together tomorrow, and hey, we'll see how it goes is kind of what he was saying.
We're going to talk picks, and we're going to do it at the end. So we'll put you on the spot at the end of all the team competition, team talk. We'll talk some individuals here, but that's women's, a lot to shake out. We're going to talk men's competition now, and it feels like a lot of the storylines are coming out of the Big 12 this year, right? You go BYU Cougars, you got Oklahoma State, obviously defending champs, and bring everyone back, add some people, super deep. Iowa State is in the mix. Arkansas has been running crazy with their top 3. Are those the teams? Is that it? Who else do we got out there? I
mean, those are definitely the big 4, you could say, right? I think we've seen all season long, all these teams have performed super well. Nutty Comb, Pre-Nats, their conference championships, regionals. I mean, we've seen those 4, they're really deep. I think what it's really going to come down to on the day is which of those teams is actually the deepest in America. We haven't seen them all compete against each other all season long. Arkansas has been, I think, the one that a lot of them haven't competed against yet when you're looking at Oklahoma State, BYU, and Iowa State, and it's really exciting, because on one hand you see Oklahoma State, they're defending champions coming back in, that they have a really deep squad and they've added some new key pieces into the mix as well. But then you look at a team like BYU that beat them at Big 12s, and that was really impressive on their side, and then Arkansas has dominated, the South Central region and the SECs, and so we know what they have there. So it's really going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, you got a team like New Mexico, ranked 5 right now. Haptem Samuel leading them up front, going to be a low stick. Olin, you mentioned just being out in flag. I got to ask, the 6th ranked NAU Lumberjacks are here. Again, we talked about the storyline with Mike Smith being his last season with this team on the women's side. Same for men's, and they've had this massive dynasty run. What are the vibes out of flag right now around the NAU team?
Yeah, I mean, I think that means something to them, the fact that it's Mike's last year. And, this is a team that they know how to show up year in, year out. And even though it's not, the same players, they know how to put together the team. They know how to put it together on the day. And that's something that's always impressed me about those teams, because it's something that I've struggled with, running a lot of these meets. And so, yeah, I really don't think you can count them out for a podium spot.
Abby, we've talked a lot about depth of the top men's teams and how that's so meaningful to run well at this meet. What would you say about the teams you've been on and where depth's played a factor, low sticks, and the team dynamics to help a team finish high?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like because nationals, there's so many teams, it doesn't always matter the results leading up, because there's just more bodies here and points that are a little different. And if you have a ton of people up front, that's the math is mathing. But yeah, depth really matters, and especially that number 5 and even number 6 and 7, you just have to have people there in case top 5 doesn't have a great day. Just
when you get
matters.
to there's 10 spots in 1 second,
yeah,
a good kick from a 5 runner can mean everything.
Yes, yeah. So So depth means everything and everyone matters, and I feel like teams know that too. So everyone's coming in here, I think, thinking that they have a chance.
We hear coaches talk a lot about, like, there's got to be a little luck on your side. Team has to be healthy, right? No sickness, injuries, those kind of things. How much does that play into factors in this team competition?
Well, it's crazy to think that on one single day in November, you have to have 7 guys, I guess five athletes show up, run perfect on the day. You can't, I don't want to jinx anything. You can't have any falls, can't have any mess ups. And in a race like this, like through these hills, through this like crazy start, there's just so little room for error, and to get it just perfect, it's a hard thing to do, but it makes for a special results.
And earlier today, we talked to Coach Ed Eyestone, who leads the #2 ranked BYU team, about health, the luck, and what it's going to take for them tomorrow. There's always a lot of talk about luck and health when you get to the NCAA championship. So luck, you kind of wait for the day to see what happens, but in terms of health of the team, sickness, injury, all that, where you guys
I think
at?
we've had the normal amount of, colds and whatnot, and I think any team that hasn't had one of their top 7 probably with a little bit of a cough or, little pain here or there in the last couple of weeks, that's common. And so we just kind of put that in the back of our minds. We rely on the strength that we've accrued and this reservoir of fitness that you develop over the summertime and over the course of the season, and then you just hope that you've peaked them adequately and right, and that all things are firing on all cylinders, and that maybe some of these little aches and pains go away on race morning and you can deliver.
So that was Ed Eyestone. You can check out that full interview on FloTrack. Really a lot of excitement around the BYU squad, the men and women, a lot riding on the line for them, and they obviously want to see themselves on the top of that podium, but they're not the only one. We mentioned Iowa State. We talked to Jeremy Sudbury. Olin, you were there for that. I'm curious, hearing what he had to say about the Cyclones and their chances, what did you take away from hearing him earlier?
Yeah, it was interesting to hear him talk about regionals, just kind of staying controlled. It was interesting to hear that they were able to sit a couple guys, so they've got some fresh guys coming in this weekend. You run 2 10Ks a year, and it's within 8 days. And so, yeah, I think he was very confident, and I feel like he thought they could surprise some people.
Yeah, confidence for sure. I actually asked him what would it take for them to surprise and potentially win. Some coaches shy away from that. I think Ray Tracy kind of was like, I don't really know what's going to happen. Jeremy actually had an answer for what it was going to take for them, which I was surprised to hear. Not surprised, but it was awesome to hear. He was confident enough to give us some insight.
Yeah, and I think even just talking with coaches on the men's side in particular, they're very willing to acknowledge that, hey, it's going to be a dogfight. Like, it's going to be very competitive, and I think they can acknowledge that there are a lot of deep teams out there, the ones that we mentioned, BYU, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, and it's really just going to come down to, how it really plays out over the race. That final K, 2K, like you were saying, Olin, is super crucial. If it's true championship style racing, right, they're all going to be packed together. Say you, over the last K, your 5th man passes 20 people. That's huge implication on the team standing. So we'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, and in talking to Eyestone, Jeremy Sudbury, we also talked to Coach Miltenberg at UNC, even Coach Gibby at Harvard. And one thing that was consistent with all of them was how fast they thought this race would play out. I think they look at pre-nats this year and remember how fast that race ended up being. And so everyone was like, our teams are going to have to be okay with being uncomfortable, meaning it's going to be hard from the start. This isn't going to be a slow thing. So we'll see what weather looks like tomorrow to see if that is really how it all shakes out. But for you guys, what is the thought around like a race being hard from the gun? These races are not easy at any stretch, but just the speed at which it could go from the gun versus something that kind of winds up and gets more cranked up later in the race.
Yeah, I feel like that was always the race that I was more comfortable with. I think it suited my physiology better, and I think that's something that I struggle with a lot of times at this meet, because I feel like we were always really ready for the Big Ten meet, and that was a race that, kind of, everyone's looking around until 5K, and then it rips the last 3K, and I feel like that was good for me. And then you get here, and it's, back in my day, you have Tyler Day and Matt Baxter just ripping the doors off everyone, and like, you get 1K in and you're already in trouble, and you have to somehow figure out how to recover while staying in the pack and not losing position. And that's something that is just incredibly difficult, and you just have to sit in that pain for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like for the men doing 10K, like if you're a more middle distance miler and it goes guns ho from the start, like that psychologically, I feel like that's also really hard, even though they might be able to do it. So I feel like it does like affect, I don't know, it's like, it seems like it would be better for like 10Kers on the track to have a 10K cross that like starts hard from the gun. So yeah, it's definitely a whole different ballgame than the women's 6K.
I got, before we move on to talk individuals, I got to ask both of you, Colorado, Wisconsin men, both in this race. I think 12th ranked on the men's side for Wisconsin, 25 for Colorado men. You also got Bob Liking in here, 4-time Big Ten champion. What are we feeling about our home squads?
I'm excited about them. I think they can really do something special. I think Bob is going to put it together, have his best national race ever.
He's got it, right? It's his last one.
It's his last one. And he's been having a great season. But I think the fun thing about the Wisconsin men is then more or less 2 through 7, I think they've been mixing it around. They've been interchangeable all season. And so I think if they can get that pack together, work together, and you just need 4 of the, if Bob runs well, you just need 4 of those guys to go out, have a great race. And yeah, I think they're going to outperform their ranking, no question in my mind.
Some rebuilding at Colorado, new coaching staff, obviously. Top 25 ranking right now. What are the expectations from the Buffs this year?
Oh yeah, I feel like they're going through a lot of change right now, so and like whole new team, like I know some of them still, but definitely like getting used to each other, getting used to new training and everything like that. So I feel like everything's gonna go well for them, and going forward they'll have a great experience here, and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the teams that are going to win, but there's so many stories within this race when you think about the 31 teams, which makes this meet even more exciting. But the team competition isn't it. We got an individual race, and that will be the first thing crowned, seeing the first person cross over that finish line. The women's race kicks off first tomorrow, and Ashley, it feels like the women's race, I mean, both of these men's and women's races up front is just going to be super exciting. But what are we looking out for on the women's side?
I know I mentioned on the men's team side that there's a big 4 teams. I want to talk about a big 3 on the women's individual side. I think we got to talk about the top returner from the NCAA meet last year, Doris Lemon-Gole of Alabama. She had a phenomenal season, obviously, again during cross, but then on the track she set the collegiate steeplechase record, and she's performed super well all year long. She won the SEC championship, and she's looked really strong. Then you have Hilda Olamomoy, who used to be at Alabama, now at Florida. She transferred this year, and she's looking really strong. She won her regional meet just barely over Doris, and
identical times.
Exactly. And out there with Will Palmer there, she's one that's been consistently among the top women in the NCAA out in cross country and on the track. And then we have a newcomer, Pamela Koskai, freshman at New Mexico, and she's the sister of Bridget Koskai, if you happen to know that name.
Former world record holder in the marathon, no big deal.
Yeah. Right? Former. And Pamela, she won pre-nats. She's looked really strong, and I think she's going to be someone that's, she outkicked Hilda here at this meet at pre-nats. So I think she's one that, even though she is a freshman, she is going to be a contender. Those are the big 3 for me.
Yeah, and then those are big names, but then Kayla McCabe, Chloe Scrimgore, people we've been talking about all season that have run great at this meet in the past. What are some of the standouts for you guys in this women's individual race?
I mean, for Pamela, as far as I know, she's undefeated, and I'm just not going to bet against that ever.
You feel good about that? That matters when you get to this meet.
Yeah, I think you have a ton of confidence from that. You've won on this course, and yeah, at some point, I think, when you're good, and you find ways to win races, and if you've consistently been finding ways to win races all season, I think it just shows you can continue to do that.
Abby, how about for you?
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting there to be a big pack. Well, big and then get smaller and smaller, and I'm sure there's going to be more women in there too, like some of the Oregon women and Kaylee, and it'll be interesting to see when it breaks away, if it does early or later, and if it doesn't, I think it could be Kaylee too, because she has an amazing kick. So yeah, it's going to be so exciting to see.
Ashley, I'm curious for your perspective. You know, Parker Valby lit this meet on fire last year. She's obviously no longer here, but Florida again has one of the best. What does that matter? Come here. Will Palmer leading another potential national champion.
I mean, shoot, you've seen Hilda run, right? I mean, she's pretty good. I mean, if you look at what happened on the track last year, who was it that was the first person behind Parker Valby in the 5K and the 10K? It was Hilda. And so now, you know, with Will Palmer here, I think she's in a perfect position to get that coaching of, hey, this is how you can be at the front and win a race. And I think that's really how it's going to go out in the 6K is, you know, since it is 6K on the women's side, you can really kind of just go full throttle from the get-go. You're not trying to play any patient games here, you know, like the men are over 10K. So I think, you know, having, you know, some of that coaching there, she's going to be up there along with Doris, along with Pamela, perhaps Kaylee McCabe as well, Salon Ildes of Oregon.
Well, I asked you the question. I also asked Will Palmer the question, and here's what he had to say about Hilda's chances. And then Hilda up front. I'm curious, just again, where it's going to be I think a really, really fun, I say fun as a spectator, fun battle on the women's individual race. What do you feel like her chances are coming in, and is she healthy? All those things that she needs to be for tomorrow's race.
Yeah, I mean, she's checked every box and training and everything, and I think she's continued to gain experience with every single race. Like, she's been in, not that she hasn't been up front in races before, but if you look back at her resume, anytime she's won a race, it's kind of been uncontested. She hadn't had a lot of experience banging heads with a lot of women of this caliber consistently, like late in races. So yeah, I don't know, she's got a good shot, but she's a rookie at this level on this stage.
So that was Will Palmer of Florida. Again, he's leading two of the top women in the NCAA these last 2 years. So excited to see how it shakes out. We're going to get your picks here in a moment, but first we're going to talk about the men's individual team battle. Graham Blanks, the big headline here, defending champ, lost to Haptem Samuel earlier this season. Haptem obviously went on and had a great track season, won that 10K outdoors. Ashley, I don't know. I love the women's race, but the men's race is so intriguing to me because we're mentioning these two guys, but it's so deep really through the top 15, it feels like.
I was going to say, I think for the men's side, it's just so hard to pick a winner. You know, there's so many. You mentioned Graham Blanks, obviously defending champ, Haptem Samuel, runner-up last year, won the 10K on the track during NCAA outdoors, and like you said, beat him at pre-nats earlier this year. But then there's a slew of new international athletes that have come in. I mean, you think of someone like Solomon Kipchoge of Texas Tech, who's run 59 minutes for a half marathon, and you know, you throw someone like that into the mix and it gets really interesting. So you know, if you're looking at this race, a lot of heavy hitters. You know, that Arkansas has plenty of good guys as well.
Like Arkansas, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, all right now in our rankings have multiple guys like in that top essentially 5 to 15 position.
Yep. I think really it's going to be a matter of perhaps who can break the other people, right? Like maybe it's someone in that last K that's like, you know what, we're going to go for it right now. Let's try to break some people. And maybe that's how it turns out. You know, usually you'll see some of like the Kipchoge, like Solomon Kipchoge, go out really hard from the get-go. Will that happen tomorrow? Who knows? But like you said, I think the men's race is just so exciting because I think there are a lot of people that could win this race tomorrow.
Yeah. We talked earlier about just the speed in which this men's race could go out tomorrow with some of these names that Ashley's mentioning. You got two in Texas Tech that are ranked in our top 10 right now, and both of them don't have a team to worry about. So we talked about the team and running for one another, but when you have some top talent that don't have to worry about the team and they're just like, hey, we're going to run and gun and try to win this thing, what does that dynamic play into this race?
It is interesting because sometimes I think when you have a top team and you're really going for that team title, you can kind of stick together a little bit as a group towards the front. I mean, you're there, but you're working together and you're not maybe pushing at the front. But that could be an advantage too, to wait longer. I mean, when it comes to Haptem, like the year that he's had has been insane. Like I feel like it was almost overlooked when he broke 27 in the 10K at Sound Running because Nico ran a second faster than him, which was incredible. And then also his 10K, I think he showed such mental toughness in that outdoor 10K with his fall early and like to be able to come back and win. And the way he's been racing again with the win at pre-nats, he's gonna be hard to beat, but I hate to be someone that's betting against Graham Blanks.
Yeah, Abby, Graham Blanks, defending champ. Like, how hard do you see this field being for him to repeat?
I don't think it's that hard for him. Well, I mean, like, I think he can handle it. He's like really good, so.
True. Yeah, he does have the finger trick, you know, so he'll just whip that out on the starting line.
Well, the finger, yeah, tell us.
Well, I don't know. He does this magic trick where he separates his finger. If he can do that, he can do anything.
Have you never seen that before?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
He does it before. It started at, there's a video of him doing it at NXN in high school, and he still does it.
So fingers for the win is what Abby's going with here.
Well, I think it could be anyone, but I think he definitely can.
You have a lot of confidence, though, in him coming back here. You know, the field being as strong as it is, that you don't have doubts for Graham Blanks is what I'm hearing.
You're a
No,
believer.
I'm a believer. I also would love to see Parker Wolf in there too. That'd be really cool.
He's a tough runner.
Parker Wolf, you know, I think early in the season we had him outside of our top 10. There was a lot of talk about, man, Parker Wolf's NCAA 5K champ. How's he not in there? He moved way up, had a great early season, won here at Wisconsin earlier in the season, but the last few weeks we've had not the Parker Wolf we've seen earlier in this year.
We talked with Mullenberg earlier, a little injured after Nutty Komen, and really he said that, you know, hey, when we look back on this time period, like post-Nutty Come to now, 5 years from now, like this will be the one that, you know, challenged you the most and helped you develop the most into a world-class athlete and dealing with some of these challenges. And so I think for Parker, it's really just, I'm curious to see what his fitness level is at coming into this. So, you know, it's 10K now, it's not an 8K now, and especially coming off an injury, that could be tough. But I mean, hey, like you said, Parker Wolf's a gamer, so who knows what could happen.
Yeah, for those that don't know, and there were comments after this last rankings release, he's back in 23rd. Everyone's like, where'd Parker Wolf go? In talking to Coach Miltenberg today, which you can see that interview on FloTrack, he said he missed about 3 weeks of running. And so he had a foot thing that came up, and he's been trying to battle back. He says he's finished 9th each of the last 2 years. He said he's better than what he was when he finished then, maybe not 100%, but better than what he was in the past. But the issue is the field has leveled up so much that it's just really tough to tell where that might shake things out.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, with the caliber of talent in this field, even, you know, if you're not 100%, you can be out of it. So it's really going to be curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah. But the guy we're talking about, Graham Blanks, obviously defending champ and one that Abby's super confident in repeating. We talked to his coach, Alex Gibby, and this is what he had to say about the race tomorrow. In terms of strategy, how do you guys approach this course, and then what athletes are you guys targeting to say, hey, if this guy makes the move, this is who we have to pay attention to?
Well, you know, from a strategy standpoint, that's for him and I. This is disgusting. Anyways, but you know, yeah, nice try. Well done. No, it's but from a personnel standpoint, obviously, you know, there's some guys out there that are terrific. Obviously, Habtum is, I think, the guy with the bullseye. You know, Graham won last year, but Habtum was second. Graham makes the Olympics. Habtum should have been at the Olympics. Like, Habtum wins the outdoor title, runs 28.652. I mean, you're splitting hairs here on who's the better athlete. But there's going to be others, and so, you know, who is going to be in the race? Well, we'll see at 8,000 meters. Like, we'll get to that point and start to figure out who's actually going to try to win this thing.
All right, that was Alex Gibby again talking. Graham Blanks, defending champ. Talk about Bob Liking. Where's he at in our talks?
Oh, he's winning it all.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's like, I just saw him do a stride. He looks amazing.
Well, we're at the finish line. This is where the champions will be crowned. So we're talking men's individuals. It's time to get into our picks. We're going to start with the men's individuals since we're here. Are you going, Bob? I want to get everyone's picks here. Who's our national champ? Do we have a sleeper outside of your confident pick?
Yeah, I think Bob is my pick for the win, but I think Graham Blanks would be my sleeper. You know, I think he's under the radar. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about him, so I think he's got a shot to do it.
Okay, so the actual pick is Bob Liking. Is this we're putting it in the books? All right, I like it. Home team. Last time this meet was here, it was won by a Wisconsin Badger, Morgan McDonald. So hey, keep the vibes high. I like it. Abby.
I think Habtum and Graham are gonna tie.
Identical times.
Yeah.
And if we had a tie-break procedure, who would you give it to?
Hoptum.
Okay. All right.
And Sleeper Parker.
Parker Wolf, all right, coming back after some injury. I like it. Ashley.
I know Graham Blanks is the defending champ, but I can't pick him. I have to go with Hopton Samuel. You know, I think ever since watching him as a freshman last year at New Mexico and finishing runner-up, again, winning a track title during NCAA Outdoors, and then seeing him win pre-nats here, and he's just been super consistent. Like, I think he knows how to win a championship race, and I think that's going to play out tomorrow. Sleeper pick. I've seen the Arkansas men a whole lot this year.
Don't take mine.
And I have to go Patrick Kiprop.
Oh, man.
Did I take your sleeper?
You did. You did.
Well, it's
I'll
okay.
change it.
Well, he's not a sleeper anymore. He's awake now.
I was gonna say, I think to say that he's a sleeper is funny because I've seen this guy like completely destroy everyone at SECs and stuff like that. But he's a gamer. He's fast. He's performed well here earlier in the season, so I think he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, I would pick him as a sleeper, as you said, not a full sleeper. I was 7th here a year ago, but I just love the confidence and the fun that team is having. We saw Coach Bucknam. He said, I got 2 really good ones, really 3. So I feel like he's got a good shot. But I'm going to go with Blanks. I'm going to do it. Just talking to Alex Gibby and talking about their progression, coming back from injury last year, getting to the point where he made the Olympic team. I feel like they know what they're doing. They know how to get him ready. Hopton looks amazing and has already won here earlier in the year, but I'm going with the defending champ. So it's in the books. We got our picks. Let's go to women's side. Abby, let me, ladies first. On the women's individual, who do you got?
Pamela. And then sleeper, Chloe Thomas.
All right. You like those two? Mm-hmm. Olin?
Yeah, I like Pamela Kazgai too. I think, undefeated season so far. Don't bet against that. But I've been thinking, we're back in Wisconsin, thinking about Danny Jones. If for whatever reason this race doesn't go so fast out the front that everyone's gone, I think Salon from Oregon, she's got a great kick, great 1,500 meter runner. You never know.
Yeah. Ashley?
I think I'm going to have to be with Abby here on the winner, Pamela Kazgai. Again, the way I saw her run at pre-nats, she's just a freshman at New Mexico, but she looked like a veteran out there. The way that she was able to really just put a move on Hilda Olomomoy at the end and come away with the win and run a crazy fast time here over 6K. And so I think, again, like you said, Olin, she's undefeated, so why bet against her? And then I think for my sleeper, I'm actually going to go to Grace Hartman of NC State. She won the ACC title. She won the Southeast Regional title. She performed, just super well all season. She's been one of the most, I think, consistent individuals in the NCAA, in terms of just from start of the season to now. And she has championship racing experience. She knows what it's going to take, especially, running for the Wolf Pack. And so I think she's going to be one to watch as well.
I got to go Hilda Olomomoy. Just a battle last week at regionals. Florida, again, trying to get double champs in these last year and this year. And she's, again, coming off maybe, someone could argue she's coming off maybe too hard of a race last week with that battle. But I think that also primes her for this, ready for this competition. I feel good about that. And I'm going to go sleeper. I'm going to go Kayla McCabe, West Virginia. She's been looking good. That West Virginia team is solid right now and could do something special tomorrow. So we got it in the books, individuals. I love it. That means what do we got to talk about left? The biggest thing in cross country, the team battle. And let's stick with the women. It'll be the first race of the day tomorrow. I'm going to switch it up. Put you on the spot first. Ashley, what do we think?
I mean, I know earlier I was talking about how BYU has looked like the solid favorite, and I can't go against them. They run super well together as a pack. As I mentioned, their 1-5 spread has been just incredible all season long. Diljit Taylor knows how to prepare teams. I think they're going to be thinking about the disappointment of last year going into this and not wanting that to happen again. And seeing them at Big 12, seeing them at regionals, I think they're ready for this year, and I think they're going to win.
We got a sleeper.
Right.
Sleeper for the team. It could be a sleeper for the title or just a podium spot. I'll give you either.
I'm actually going to put New Mexico up in that conversation. Again, led by Pamela Kazgai, but she's not the only piece for them. They have a pretty solid top 5 there, pretty deep as well. They're ranked within our top 10 in the FloTrack College XC rankings, and I think they could potentially be on the podium.
Olin.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the NAU women. I think they've been running at Buffalo Park. They've been going up that big hill and then buffering lactate. So I think they're ready to go out hard, get up this hill, buffer, and then close.
I love it. I love it. And any sleepers for that podium?
I don't know. I mean, not a sleeper, but I think the Oregon women are dangerous for challenging for that title. You know, obviously BYU, you have BYU ranked first, but they've got their work cut out for them.
Abby, what do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking BYU also. I feel like they've just been so good this whole year so far, and like they always just have something really like magical about their team and their culture, it seems like. So I think that they stick together throughout the season and they run for each other, and yeah, I think they can do it tomorrow.
I like it. I like it. Any sleepers?
Sleeper, probably Providence, because they've done it before in 2015 and they've podiumed, and so I think that they can like slip into the podium.
Love it. I love it. Where do we go? I'm going NAU. I'm with you. I'm with you. I haven't seen the lactate buffering and all these things, but what I have seen is just Mike Smith, and I've seen the success he's had at this level. I don't know that we're going to see it on the men's side this year, but with him going out, I just feel like that team is going to rally together around what they did last year, add that extra flair of Mike's last season with them. And I think they're going to pull off something special. On the sleeper side, I don't think they're sleeper for podium, but it could be a sleeper for a title if a little luck goes their way, maybe a little unfortunate luck goes to some other teams, and I'm going to go with West Virginia. They've been running strong, looking good. Be an amazing story being outside of the rankings at the start of the season to finish something crazy like that. So that's my sleeper. One to go. One to go. Men's. Abby, I'm going to let you kick this one off.
I think the winner is going to be Oklahoma State. I think they've just shown so many times they come to nationals ready to fight, and they're going to be a threat tomorrow. And then sleeper, maybe Arkansas, because it seems like they didn't go all out at regionals, so they could be fresh and ready to go tomorrow.
So that's your sleeper for the title.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Olin?
I'll go with BYU. I think at Big 12s they were incredibly impressive. To win that, it's hard to bet against that. I feel like I keep saying it, but you know, if you're winning, you often keep winning. I think for a team outside that's not ranked in the top 4 currently to break in, I think that's going to be really tough. But I'm looking for my Wisconsin Badgers to do that.
Oh, I like it.
I'm excited for them. They're ready to go. They're excited. Vibes are high, and I can't wait to see them race tomorrow.
I love it. I love it. Actually, I'm going to go before you because I don't want you to steal my sleeper this time.
Oh,
Let's
gosh.
see.
Okay, we'll see what it is.
Oh, man. I'm going to go Oklahoma State. Dave Smith coming, he's just got so much experience here. His team is so deep. I think there's been some questions around the last 2 weeks with regionals and the conference meet, but I think they're going to be ready to go. My sleeper, this is my podium sleeper, not the title sleeper. But my podium sleeper, Wake Forest.
Gosh, dang it, you stole my sleeper.
I knew it.
Dang it.
Rocky Hansen has had, he sat out last week. He had a rough ACC. We heard that he had heat stroke in that ACC championship. They sat out really their top 2, just kind of snuck in from the regional after winning the ACC title and having a pretty good early start to the season. So that's my sleeper to get on the podium. Now, go ahead.
I'll have to pick another sleeper then, but for my winner, I have BYU. I'm going BYU sweep men, women. I think Ed Ashton has his team prepared. I think it's going to be really tight. I do think it's going to be tight between them and Oklahoma State, but I think it is BYU that has proven that they've been consistent all season long. They have the depth to win a title, and I think it's going to happen on the day. My new sleeper, was going to say Wake Forest. My new sleeper is actually going to be Stanford.
Okay.
They did not perform well at their regional. They finished 3rd to Oregon and Washington. However, they finished 2nd at ACCs. They performed really well here at pre-nats, I believe. So I think they know what it takes to perform well on the day. Last year, going into NCAAs, they had kind of had a slow start to the season, but then they had their best race of the season at NCAAs. So they know how to prepare for the big one. So I think that they could definitely get on the podium.
That's a big sleeper. I mean, yeah, 2nd at ACCs. Right now we have 3 teams ranked in the top 10 from the ACC. Stanford not one of them. So that just tells you how good they can be when they're on. So picks are in. Now it's just time to race this thing and see what shakes out. So that's going to close things out for our preview show. Again, the FloTrack College Cross Country Rankings presented by Hoka. It's been great following along all season. Tomorrow we will see who's going to be crowned individual and team champions. The race kicks off with the women at 9:05 a.m. Central Time. You can watch that on ESPNU, and the men will follow. So thanks for tuning in, following along all season. We'll be on site tomorrow, capturing all of interviews after the race and action during the race, giving you updates. So tune in. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you bright and early in the chilly conditions here in Madison tomorrow. And thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.